I never would have tried, you know. So I don't think that, you know, it's just different times. And if you go back to the 70s, it's different times in the 90s. And those guys really had, you know, Piper was stabbed and shot at, and Jake was stabbed. You know, guys, that's a different era.
Let's get to the bro, my God, moment of the week, ladies and gentlemen. The Undertaker has some controversial comments to Ryan Satin about today's generation. So he says this. He says, a lot of the younger talent, it's the evolution of that comic book era, the superhero era. And I think that's their motivation and what their inspiration is. He also says, he follows on to say, they didn't have to come up and bust heads in bars and figure out how they're going to eat, things like that. So, Joey Janela, hey, yo, Joey. Joey Janela, he comes back and he says, I 100% agree, Mark. Calls him Mark. They're on Mark versus they're on Mark and Joey terms now. Lots of lame Marvel geek talk in these locker rooms. If I ever open up a wrestling school before you have your first match, you're gonna have to get in at least 2 bar fights with proof. By the way, the Avengers movie sucked. Paige, what do you think about Taker's comments and then the present generation representative of a pro wrestling, which is Joey Janela, making that type of comment?
Because you guys sent that to me, I read that. Because you guys sent that to me, I read that because I would never even read that. But I read it. And at some point, they were really busting Joey's chops. And Joey's like, what are you talking about? I agree with him. Like, that's what he said. I'm just telling you what he said going through. So, you know, to me, you know, this generation is not the guys who, you know, like got faced on the road like we did. You know, like, there was a lot of drinking every night. And I had to, like, get out in different cars. Because I drove with Michael Graham and Barry Windham, and those guys they made me look like I didn't know how to have a cocktail. I mean, as far as drinking beer, it's like, oh my God, like, I love you guys, but I gotta go. But what I was told is I was, you know, watching so many of the guys that they were into video games, not into abusing their bodies. It's maybe that's why they can take so many crazy bumps. You know, that they can take more of a less polluted system. I don't know. I think that what Take was really, you know, to me, what I was hearing is our stuff was based in our time in reality. I'm not talking about the 80s. I'm talking about the 90s. Mm-hmm. The Attitude Era and the NWO and everything that we did was based in reality. It's still a work. It's the same shit. But it was based in reality, and some stuff is, and some stuff's not. I was talking to Robert Gibson, and they were down, and this is at an independent show, and the place was popping huge. And he's like, "Who is in this match?" And he walked upstairs, and you know what it was? 2 guys in video games playing each other. Oh, like huge pops. And he just shook his head and he said, I said, yeah, but, you know, when you hear this is awesome, you know, sometimes it could be this match is just out of control, but it's like the bumps that these kids take today. Some of them are like, it's like a video game, you know, and other ones are reality based, and you'll see the old timers as they start getting older, they start telling more stories. And today, if you hear this is awesome to me, sometimes, you know, it could just mean this is just mind blowing. When I hear them chanting someone's name, I know they're into the character.
Yeah.
Not to say both of those matches can be amazing, because some of the stuff that I've seen Bryan Danielson do? And, you know, and guys
Sammy
like
Guevara.
sorry, I mean, all these guys, it's like they make me look like I wasn't even an athlete. You know, they could do so many more things. My stuff was more reality based as far as the character, what I said, you touch my wife, you know, just storylines. But we were just more reality based, where when the NWO came in, and we talked about this last week, it blurred the lines. You know, it blurred the lines. And I think both of them are good. I don't have a problem with either one, ours or theirs, because it's constantly changing the business. And when you saw Sammy do the leap from the ropes to the ladder to hitting Cody with the cutter, there was so much room for error. But he didn't make an error. And they hit a beautiful move that I never would have tried. You know, so I don't think that, you know, it's just different times. And if you go back to the 70s, it's different times in the 90s. And those guys really had, you know, Piper was stabbed and shot at, and Jake was stabbed. You know, guys, that's a different era. They're all different eras. As far as I'm concerned, you know what? They're all good to me, you know, because I appreciate the athleticism that these guys have today. And I get, you know, Take, you know, it takes the old school guy of the, you know, going in the Hall of Fame, man. Nobody freaking, as far as I'm concerned, like, I didn't have my best matches with him, but I don't think anybody did it better than Taker. You know, especially he's got to go down as one of the greatest big men of all time. You know, him and Kevin Nash, you know, the greatest big men of all time, man. So, you know, I take it with a grain of salt, you know, and Joey's comeback, Joey was like, I agree with him. What are you talking about? So, you know, I don't know. You know, to me, it's all wrestling, bro. You know, that's what I think.
Yeah, Vince, and your way. So, say for instance, if a fan of today's generation said something like but that was, you know, that was the 90s. That was the generation before us. We appreciate the art form. We don't have a problem with all the super kicks and, you know, the jumping to the leaping ladder cutter spot. It's just the art form that we love to see people do. What would your response be to something like that?
Bro, I gotta tell you, listen, Paige knows how much I love him. But I totally disagree with Paige. And I'll tell you why. Bro. We're going to sit here and talk. We're going to sit here. We're going to talk about Scott Hall. We're going to talk about DDP. We're going to talk about Kevin Nash. We're going to talk about Roddy Piper. We're going to talk about Macho Man. We're going to talk about Hulk Hogan. I can go on and on and on and on and on. These guys built a popularity that wrestling had never seen before, bro. Go look at the numbers. When they used to say WrestleMania, what the world is watching, bro, the world was watching. The popularity that these guys, Eric Bischoff, rose this business to. And this younger generation, bro, they lost the popularity. We went from the world to a niche market. And if you look at numbers, and we're going to talk facts.
No,
here,
I get all that, but it's a different platform. It's a different platform too, you know? And again, I agree with what we did as far as the numbers. They'll never have those numbers, but the platforms are totally different. I just respect the athleticism and like the stuff that I said, Daniel, I just want to make sure I get him the right name. Bryan Danielson gets so mixed up with his name, knowing what his real name was. You know, I think that if you watch that cat today, I don't care who he's, whether it's Kenny Omega, you know, or friggin' Hangman Page, you know. I mean, those guys put on a hell of a show, man. They put on a hell of a show. Did they take a lot of bumps? Hell yeah. But they put on a hell of a show, man.
Here's the ironic thing, though, Chris, which, you know, you're the psychologist of the group, okay? So this is the thing that blows me away. The 1,000% positive thing about today's business is outside of the ring, it's a much healthier business. Like Paige said, there isn't the alcohol, there isn't the pills, there aren't the drugs. And bro, thank God for that. That's a good thing. But the ironic thing is, these kids aren't doing any of that, but they're killing themselves in the ring. So like, what's the payoff, bro? These guys were doing that, drinking pills, but bro, in the ring, they were working with each other. They were working safe. They had long careers. It's the complete opposite today, where the lifestyle outside of the ring is much healthier, but you're killing yourself in the ring. So it's really the same balance, bro.
Yeah. Good discussion. Good heated discussion. I'm sure that can continue to extend further than that. It's you know, both ends make sense. I you know, if I'm the third party here, the neutral party to side one way or the other, I got to go Vince on this one, as far as just when it comes to the overall perception of wrestling. Now, I agree with you, Paige, that the talent is just amazing. I think from a talent perspective, just amazing that people are showing the art. Like, it's an art form. It's like painting a picture on the canvas when you see Sammy Guevara do things like that. But at the same time, it's just from a psychological standpoint, it's similar to, like, there's a phenomenon. It's actually dealing with sexual nature, but you can actually apply it here too. It's called the Coolidge effect, and it's about reaching a type of stimulation, and if it's the same thing, it tends to plateau earlier. So you want different. And so when you have more riveting storylines, and when you have different angles and things like that, that type of differentiation, it actually helps with not plateauing from a psychological perspective. If we keep seeing the same thing over and over and over, that's why we converted into more of a pop-based business. Boom, 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 pop, 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 pop. So I think it's a really interesting discussion there. Let's go rolling down memory lane, fellas. Go ahead.
I think in the big picture, I think everybody overreacted to what Taker said. You know, he's just I agree. Guy. Yes. He's just an old school guy.
That's right.
Comment. That's all he is.
That's right.
You know, one of the greatest of all time, and he can say whatever the hell he wants.
That's easy, Undertaker.
That's the way I look at it.
Period. So with that being said, let's go rolling down memory lane. Final few minutes. Let's talk about a couple of things. One being Nitro Girl Sharmell Sullivan. Now, you know, she's been Booker T's wife for a long time. She is the newest inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame. We'll start with Vince this time. Memories of working with Sharmell in WCW or TNA, and just your thoughts on her being in the Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah, bro. When I started, you know, we had the Nitro Girls, but you know me, bro. Everything is character and storyline. So the Nitro Girls were going to get involved one way or another.
For sure.
And bro, Sharmell, and bro, I didn't realize this when I first met her, but Sharmell was a background singer for freaking James Brown. So Sharmell was an entertainer. I did not know this. I thought she was a Nitro Girl dancer. Bro, the minute she was put in a role, oh my God, it was like she was doing it her entire life. Like, she just got it, picked it up immediately, was natural, believable. That's a gift, bro. That is a gift, and she was an entertainer through and through, and she added so much to the show when I worked with her.
Very nice. Paige?
So for Vince, first of all, I've never thanked you for this, but my wife, my ex-wife, still one of my closest people in the world to me, she was making $150 a night. That's what she made. And then when she got up to the Nitro Girls, Eric gave her a bump. But I want to say it was, I can't remember. It was probably like 75 grand or so. That was like the bottom base that everybody lived at that. And then Vince came in and, Tori had got this unbelievable contract. And Kim was like, God, I can't believe she got that contract. And I said, hey, best thing that ever happened to you. And Vince is coming in here now and he wants to use you. So guess what? You're about to get paid. And thank you for that, because she deserved to get paid because she worked forever for $150 a night. No guarantee crazy, a night. So Sharmell was introduced to me by Kimberly when she hired her for the Nitro Girls, and we loved her. As soon as I saw her gorgeous face on the Hall of Fame thing, I picked up my phone and I called her. I didn't text her, hey, congratulations. I picked up the phone and called her because me and her old man are pretty tight, and I love her. Like her and Booker came to my 60th birthday party, and they stayed in my house, man. I love them. And I love, because she had a lot to do, like not just with us in WCW, what she did in WWE was so much even bigger, and they brought her in as a worker, at one point, and then she got injured, but then went right into the role of the Queen with Book. And I think she added, a lot to Book, what they were doing, and she deserves it, man. I was super happy for her. Yeah. And she's just a great human being.
She is.
Yeah.
She is.
Agreed. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she was the, compliment to Booker, being King Booker. If she wasn't there and having that presence, making him feel like $1 million, you need that person there. And he felt like a king when she would always say, "All hail King Booker! All hail King Booker!" We forget that William Regal would say that too.
And one of the background dancers for sure too with James Brown. I mean, the girl's multi-talented, so she belongs in some Hall of Fame. So I'm glad she's in ours.
Yeah.
The low bro, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to land the plane on the low bro. So, Bully Ray in the Busted Open episode actually agreed in the fact that, in the opinion, in the theory, in the desire of Seth Rollins basically leading all this week after week losing, and I'm going to find my spot. All roads to Bully Ray should lead to The Undertaker actually coming out at WrestleMania. Seth Rollins does his open challenge. No one comes out. Instead of Cody, Taker should be the one, does a match with Seth Rollins and ends his career with a match against Seth Rollins, especially since he was in the Hall of Fame, the same weekend. Paige, what do you think? Do we do Taker closing his career out with Seth Rollins, and this, all Cody being a red herring to lead to Taker being the one who comes out?
I just can't see, what hasn't Taker done at WrestleMania? I don't think that it really needs to be done for Take. I think it's an interesting idea, absolutely, and could be. It's a possible idea, but this whole road that Seth's been on, has been, they're not doing this with him all the way through this for him not to come back strong because the guy's too good. Like, let him be maybe himself. I don't know who, but let him be, whoever, that character is that they like, to me, it's like, let him be himself. because the cat can go. You know, he can work his ass off. Like, whatever happens, you know, whether, you know, who knows who he's working with, but whatever it is, it's all leading to something. You know, because the WWE is not just going to beat a talent down like that, to me, and I could be wrong, but you're not going to beat a talent down like that when he's so good at, you know, he's one of the best workers, you know, on the planet, you know, and he's believable for a guy who's not that big, you know, a lot like Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels is believable as hell. He wasn't that big. He didn't need to be. He was Shawn Michaels. And he's got that same kind of talent. Plus, it's the family. The, you know, top 2 women in the world, his wife. You know, it's like, there's something coming for Seth Rollins. He's too good for it not to be. So wherever he goes for WrestleMania, there's something coming for him. And I'm interested to watch it, see what happens.
Vince, what do you think about that Taker idea?
Yeah, bro, I got to tell you, believe it or not, and only because today's fan is a very finicky fan. We're not talking about the fans when Paige and I were working. We're talking about today's fans. And, bro, I really believe that would put Taker in a tough spot because today's finicky fan is expecting Cody Rhodes. You see what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, bro, I'll be honest with you, bro. I don't think Vince would put him in that spot knowing that, because today's fan is so finicky, bro. Believe it or not, if it's Undertaker and not Cody Rhodes, you'd have disappointed people. It's a different fan base. So I don't think you put him in that spot, bro. I don't think you would put him there, man.
Oh, it'd be horrible, man. Just I don't care who it is, whoever's in the back, come on out. Gone. And the fans are like,
I'm telling you, bro. I mean, would you want to take that chance? I wouldn't.
No.
I gotta tell you though, if the God comes, I don't think anybody would be disappointed. You know, the God comes, the man's leading off. He's the Hall of Fame man. He's the main event. I don't think it would bum anybody out, but fans are different. They're different, you know. Yeah. They're different than they once were. I've never heard that gong go off and not heard an explosion after.
Yeah. Exactly. To your point, Vince, I think people would be disappointed, but it would be very, very short because they would be like, but what about, okay, well, it's the other.
I agree. I agree with that. I agree. Yes.